Hello everybody, welcome to Panda Pantry. Thank you for visiting us today, and hopefully I can give you some information about what Panda Flour is and what you can do with it. Panda Flour is something that I've been working on, feels like a lifetime, probably about the last 3 years, every single day. And essentially it came from a desire for a clean keto, I live a keto, low carb lifestyle, for a clean keto, egg-free wrap. Simple as that. I didn't want anything more than just a clean keto wrap. Many low carb brands contain gluten, and part of my lifestyle is that I now omit gluten, not for health reason, just purely for how it made me feel. And I know many people have the same issue with gluten. So the task became, can I make something that tastes like a wrap, responds like a wrap? You know, and having never baked prior to this point, really, it was a challenge that I had no idea whether I'd able to succeed in. I am a caterer. I've been a caterer for too many years, but found myself in a position a few years ago where baking became quite a big part of my life. And clearly when we live a clean keto lifestyle, or even if you're sort of just hoping to sort of improve your overall general sort of diet, taking control of what you make, i.e. doing it yourself, has the biggest impact. So less reliance on ready-made, pre-packaged. So I've learned a lot over the last sort of few years about baking, and as I say, although I've gone through traditional training, baking's quite low down on the requirements when you work in sort of hotels, restaurants, because a lot of that stuff's now bought in. So the skill that's required to be a baker is very much down to now the traditional bakers, which you know there are very few of them around. Most of the products that a restaurant or a hotel will use is bought in. Not all. I know that because I still have some friends in the industry who are highly talented pastry chefs. So anyway, Panda Flour. It began with a message from a friend who said, bamboo's all the thing, what can you do with it? I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. I like everyone who switches to a keto low carb lifestyle, you invariably start using things like ground almonds, coconut flour, as a flour replacement. So you can still make a roll or a cake or something. So just to replace those wheat flours. Long story short, I was sent a bag of bamboo flour and asked, and actually I was given a recipe to try and follow. It was a complete failure, just didn't work. And I was like, okay, however, it must work somehow. There must be, somebody hasn't generated a recipe for no reason. So let's start to sort of like break it down. What can bamboo do? What does it need to make it sort of to be stronger, to actually create a product? Because by itself, and that's the primary ingredient in Panda Flour, by itself, it has very little structure. It's great at absorbency. It's a super fibrous, super fine fibre. So it will absorb a large amount of liquid, but it doesn't have structure. So to provide it with some structure, it's blended with coconut flour and psyllium husk. So that's what Panda Flour is. It's as simple as that. It's 3 ingredients that are blended together to create, essentially, a very fine flour. It's not gritty, it's not grainy, like obviously ground almonds or coconut flour by itself. So it's super fine. The blend has been created, and it took a while to sort of get the right percentages, the right consistency. The blend's created to sort of provide not only the absorbency that we need, but the structure to sort of create something that's going to hold, so that stands up. A lot of times if you use just bamboo by itself, because it will absorb water, but then it'll just sink back down and it will just be, I mean, if you want a pancake, maybe that's okay. But if you want a roll or if you want a cake, then having a flat one isn't a great idea. So the other two ingredients are there to actually sort of give it some body and some strength. Psyllium husk is used widely in baking. In fact, all three of these ingredients have been used widely in baking for years. Bamboo fibre is used a huge amount within the gluten-free pre-made sort of loaves and breads that are in the supermarkets. It's one of the sort of like the lower down. If you just look at the ingredients list on a standard gluten-free loaf, you'll find things like potato starch, tapioca starch are usually at the top, with lots of binders, emulsifiers, additives, and bamboo might be in there as something that helps absorb the liquids. So Panda Flour has been created initially just to create that wrap. That's it, simple as that. And when you look at the recipes in the library, you'll see the plain wrap is literally just Panda Flour and water, nothing more. And Panda Flour will actually absorb 3 to 4 times its weight in water, meaning to make a wrap, it'd be 20 grams of Panda Flour and between 70 and 80 grams of water. And that's it. That's all you need. That's making a wrap. It's super low in carbs. So again, because it's made out of 2 primary fibers, bamboo and psyllium. So those are essentially over 90%, close to 100% insoluble fibers. And then it's blended with an amount of coconut flour. So when you look at the carb content of Panda Flour, it's about 9 grams of carbs per 100 grams. In fact, I don't need to say about, it is exactly 9.2 grams of carbs per 100 grams of Panda Flour. However, because of how the structure of Panda Flour, because of what it's made from, when you use it, you use a considerable amount less than you would if you were going to be using normal flour or a ground almond or anything else. So using ground almonds as an example, because that's the alternative to a low carb, for a low carb flour, which is gluten-free, clearly. That's about also, on average, 9 grams of carbs per 100. So they're the same per 100 grams around. There's fractions in it. However, when we do the conversion, for every 100 grams of ground almonds you might use in a recipe, you only need to use about 30 grams of Panda Flour. So the actual carb content that you're putting into the recipe is reduced from 9 grams down to 3 per 100 grams. So it's super absorbent, 9 grams of carbs per 100, making it very low carb indeed. But because it's super absorbent, you use around about only 30% of the standard volume. So it's now incredibly low carb. So, generally a recipe that might take maybe 200, 300 grams worth of flour will only use a third of the value of this. You've just maybe reduced, the carb content of the overall dish by sort of 10, 20 grams of carbs. So once we'd done the wraps, we didn't think initially that we would be transferred to many other aspects of baking, but trial and error, and we took a few development days to see whether the cakes we were making at the time down at the bakery, which were all made with ground almonds, whether they could be made with Panda Flour. And true enough, once we realised this different absorption level, we realised we could make swaps for pretty much any recipe we already had. So suddenly all of our cakes became sort of Panda Flour based, which made them all light and fluffy, lowered the carbs, improved the quality, improved the crust texture. We can make pastry, so savoury, sweet pastry, making it with butter, making it with lard, or even making it now with fresh suet, making steak kidney puddings. Making things like soda breads, white rolls. Development over the last 12, 18 months has really taken over what I do on a daily basis. So all I wanted to do today was to give you a quick introduction to Panda Flour and to understand the basics of it. You're going to find lots of recipes online, and I'm gradually building short videos which are supporting the recipes to give you an idea on how to make them. On the other side, I've got the longer form videos, which again are being filmed. They take obviously longer to do, where I'm going to show you from scratch with very little editing, long form videos to show you how to produce whatever it is, the pastries, the breads, the cakes, whatever's in the book that we've got currently available, and obviously the new recipes that are going to come around as well. So I'm going to be doing these long form videos as well to show you exactly how you can make these things at home. Again, it's coming back to the idea of, if you want to take control over your own lifestyle, your own way of eating, then the best way of doing it is by making your own food. There'll be more information about the long form videos coming soon. There'll be a couple more of these videos which talk about equipment and storage, so we'll do them separately. And in the meantime, thank you for visiting. If you haven't tried Panda, then there are options on the website for the trial packs, which are perfect way to sort of try out a little cake mix, a wrap mix, and then just straightforward plain Panda. So go and have a look at that. And if you've got any questions, please feel free to ask them in the comments or come and find us on Facebook or Instagram. Okay, thank you.